Time to bring some of the biggest giga brains in the game here, and Xenox, welcome back to the broadcast for everyone that may have either rejoined us throughout that little break or maybe decided to get off their butts for a second. But I'm glad that they're planted firmly back in the seat, because this is a matchup that you do not want to miss. It is Diables taking on the GAIMIN Gladiators. A lot of storylines here, but guys, probably the biggest storyline for me has just been the consistency that GAIMIN Gladiators have had since the start of this year.
Yeah, GG have really picked it up. They were a team that were often on the outskirts of many serious discussions, you know, contending to be one of the best teams in APAC, but they've stepped it up. Of course, second stage, they headed off to the major as well. Didn't make too many inroads, but I mean, that's the APAC first international appearance curse, right? You're not really expected to do all that much. The thing they have done, though, is gain a lot of knowledge, information, and hopefully confidence as well to bring back here for APAC South, and keen to see how much damage they can do. I think Direwolves are a little bit weakened at the moment, probably not the peak of their powers compared to perhaps some other teams in the league. So a good opportunity for GG to strike while the iron's hot and try to get some points on some of the top competition, which is now really starting to excel ahead.
Well, Tolji is meditating at the moment.
Doing a Xenox impression.
He is.
He's
trying to. He's trying to. Xenox, what do you make of this roster? Do you give them any merit?
GG, do I give them any merit? Of course I give them a whole heap of merit. I mean, geez, what kind of question is that? These guys are great.
You know, I'm hosting, mate. I've just got to poke the bear a little bit. And you are the bear after all. You're the daddy bear.
Yeah. Look, obviously, I think one thing we have to remember and keep in mind is that they obviously had their bye round. I guess that's what we're going to be calling it at the start of the stage. So they did not play in Playday 1. Came in on Playday 2 against what we maybe considered to be, you know, a wildcard team in some form after taking down tied in Playday 1, and they just dealt with them so easily. It was honestly a little bit disrespectful. So they're in some really, really good form. They're going to be tough to stop, and I think when you look at this matchup against, you know, the Direwolves, who somewhat similar, you know, they took down Fury, who, lo and behold, are looking pretty good at the moment, and that was obviously in OT. Then Direwolves obviously had Playday 2 off. So we actually got the two teams that have, you know, have had their buys already, had their breaks already, that are now going to go head-to-head here for Playday 3. Makes it a little bit difficult to predict because we don't have as much of a sample size. But, you know, when you look back to, obviously, the likes of Stage 2, for example, we know that GG, you know, ended up sort of getting into that second position quite ahead of Direwolves. I think it was like 6-point gap in the end. So they've clearly almost gone above Direwolves after the Direwolves had themselves a really, really good Stage 1. So it makes it somewhat difficult to sort of predict where each other's going to be at. Can the Direwolves get back to Stage 1? Honestly, no. I don't think they're going to go 7-0 again. Not in the way that the current state of APAC is. But GG at the moment, just a little bit ahead. I did tip Direwolves, but I think GAIMIN Gladiators is the better team.
Very interesting. Well, I guess Bridesmaid of Stage 2 versus Bridesmaid of Stage 1, guys. We'll talk about Direwolves because this roster really just exceeded expectations in Stage 1. But as Xenox has already alluded to, just such a huge fall from grace, and it just doesn't seem like they've been able to recover. Is this a stage where they could potentially do so? I mean, they have beaten Fury, and we've seen Fury in the last two bloody Playdays absolutely demolish some of the best teams that we have.
Yeah, I mean, you say a huge fall from grace, but I think that's more so Direwolves set the expectation so ridiculously high after the first stage that ever matching it was basically impossible. So it's so difficult to still approach Direwolves with that positive sort of mindset, knowing that any step down is going to be rough for them. But the difficult thing for both of these teams really is having a decent form guide at all heading into this Playday. The ironic thing is both these teams have had their buys in the first two Playdays, so they've only played a game each. So we really haven't gotten too much of a great read as to where these teams stand. They both, of course, got a win in the first of their games for the stage. Direwolves probably not quite as convincing, but knowing that it was against Fury now in retrospect, probably give it a little bit more weight than perhaps we did at the time. So this is a big match for both teams because whoever wins it, it really excels them again in the standings. And for Direwolves, they're going to be really hungry to get back to where they were in Stage 1.
Well, a big match only deserves a big map. It's time to have a look at the veto. Xenox, we know that you like to talk for entireties of graphics, so once the pick is eventually showcased, we can talk about that with a little bit more detail. I'm disappointed we don't see Bank, but we do go to the Morrigan. A map that saw a hell of a lot of play through 2021, has certainly died off since, but has just as much validity as it ever has.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say last week, because Last week, we actually saw it twice out of the 3
Yeah.
games. So, in fact, when you take into account last week and this week, so far, the only 2 maps we've played, Rob, in 5 games is Oregon and Cafe. Little Xenox fun fact there. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Look, obviously, when it comes to Oregon, I feel like it's such a staple kind of map in APAC South. Does this favor any of the 2 teams? Maybe slight edge to Gaming Gladiators. You look at their sort of record on it, 5-4, Direwolves 2-4 with some rather damning statistics. One being their defensive win rate of 46%. Really, really low. It's a map that is pretty much tied for their most banned map as well. And considering they obviously got rid of Skyscraper, which is again surprising because they've got a 6-1 record on Skyscraper. So I'm a little bit perplexed. I'm a little bit confused. So much so, I'm going to throw to Guz and see if he's got anything on this.
Throwing me under the bus or throwing me
Well,
to
have you got anything?
No, to be serious. The interesting thing, right, is Oregon makes it through despite it being the most, or equally most banned map against Direwolves. So there's clearly something that a lot of teams don't like about Direwolves on this map, despite that record, which is quite perplexing. And then you're right, the Skyscraper record for Direwolves is really, really impressive. 6 wins out of 7 maps. That's pretty damn good. Yet they don't want to take GG there, who, yes, have looked good 3-1 and have it banned against them quite a lot. But to me, suggesting that the Direwolves don't have complete confidence in this veto. But again, Oregon's a bit more of a staple map, so if they want a little bit more comfort, you can't really fault them for going to Oregon.
I guess there's probably only one part to that discussion, which is that we saw Direwolves take on Fury on Skyscraper, and that's maybe the only thing that I can think of, Xenox, that might have inclined Direwolves to move in the other direction. But as we usually do, we're going to get a bit of a prediction out of you here. Where are we leaning? Are you still leaning toward the Gaming Gladiators camp?
Yeah, I think on this map especially, I'd go Gaming Gladiators. The way I kind of framed this game is it was going to be a 50-50 game, and the map probably was going to play a part, 5-10% either way. And I think going to Oregon, I think Gaming Gladiators will be a little bit better.
Well, Guz, game's ready? Quickly?
Well, I'm a numbers man. Numbers point towards a GG win, so they should be taking it.
All right, well, it looks like we're in the GG camp. We'll have to wait and see what our casters think. It's over to Devin Mandy.
Cheers, Rob. Looks like a lot of support for Gaming Gladiators, but Direwolves haven't been too bad in Stage 3. Mandy, have any hope for them?
I would say a little bit of hope for the Direwolves. I think Oregon is going to be a tough one, especially with how Gaming Gladiators look on it at the moment, but still a little bit of hope for them.
Yeah, GG coming off the back of the major. Both these teams have had a bye, and Direwolves looking to return to a major. It's been a hot minute since Charlotte, but for GG, Berlin is fresh in their memories. We go to Oregon, and historically this has been a Gladiators map. The last time these 2 teams played was just at the end of July, and Gladiators took it in a close 8-6 on Oregon in the Operation League. Direwolves certainly have their work cut out for them.
They absolutely do, and the Game Gladiators, of course, starting off on the defense, will get the first ban. It will be Nook to be taken out. Ooh, already this game is very exciting. I want to see how Gaming Gladiators do on this defense, especially with that Nook ban coming through. I think that recently here in APAC, we've seen that Nook really be a thorn in the side of a lot of the defenses, and I think taking it out will make that Gaming Gladiators roam that they are very good at on this map much more fluent, easier to read into for the attack.
Well, my band as well, and the Ying too, so a lot of these X-Factor ops on the attacking side are banned out. Is the Mirror or the Valkyrie going to stay in, or perhaps both? That's the question on my lips. Valk goes out, Mirror is in. So this basement is going to be quite a different side to how we usually see it. You're not going to have any Ying dropping down through electrical. You will have those mirrors up. You won't be able to fortify your blue hold with my discs, and you won't have any Nooks sneaking down anywhere. So still a lot on the table here. I'm going to take a moment, operator card appreciation. Loving the operator cards, guys. Very, very nice. Have a look at that. The Rogue one in the top left. You got a couple of Direwolves guys with the Direwolves background. We had the Rick and Morty background. We had that cool one in the bottom left that I saw last week. Man, good work, guys. Love it.
They got the drip in the server, you know?
Yeah.
These guys have got the drip over us. They definitely do. Gaming Gladiators, they're going to take us to this top floor site as the first bomb site of choice. Now, they haven't elected to bring the Izami or the Mirror or anything too special aside from the Frost, and so I can't imagine that their hold is going to be I suppose, too unorthodox or anything like that. But for the Direwolves, they have a lot of tools in their hands right now, Dev. There's EMPs still on the board, all the hard breach on the board as well, and there's so much to deal with what kind of defense the Gaming Gladiators might be bringing in. Already we can see an X-Factor defense. They're opening the closet wall, but it's not a rotation hole. It's just a line of sight.
I wonder if you could vault through that. I feel like that might just be big enough to vault. In fact, I've got the feeling that's why there's a frost mat underneath it, to try and bait in Direwolves to vaulting it. Yeah, exactly. Also, Sky, can we have a look? There's a mute jammer in the closet and an ADS on the balcony. Yeah, wow, this is so much util here around Master and Trophy in the closet.
This is exciting. So we're playing the shield here inside of Trophy, and the Direwolves, is this what they're going to be dealing with initially, or will the push come from this tower or small tower side instead? And it seems like it will be. The first entry coming in from Pika as well as Reaps, doubling down, trying to clear out Joe just inside of security.
Good to see how Reaps goes on this entry. He was player to the team, of course, replacing Harambe. And while we've had less dancers outside of the server, hopefully Reaps will be able to make up for it inside the server. He's on the Yana, he's the nade operator on top of Pika. He's already used one so far, and I love the way the hard breach from Hibana has been used to gain an extra line of sight into Kitchen here.
And just look how isolated Joe is as well inside of security. There are no defenders near his vicinity to try and help him out. There's a little bit of pressure coming from the vertical, actually. Ooh. So Joe's actually relatively safe inside of security so far. That entry coming in from inside of Kitchen will be made much harder with that vertical pressure. Need to follow through, and Joe, in fact, taken down Pika with the first kill of the series. Very
fortunate that Pika survives that, but he takes a lot of damage from the second spray. The temptation to swing for the Jaeger at the top of the stairs there, or Hoven, in fact, on the Frost. That said, Direwolves walk away with the opening pick. Not unscathed, however, and Ape steps up, takes down Jackie Wu, a big player to take down. That was, in fact, on a flank up from the big tower.
Oh, and he's gone and been so elusive about it as well. Not only that, he's just gone back down to the basement and is rummaging his way around laundry stairs. He could come up freezer, and now the Direwolves have an extra thing that they need to worry about. Those flank drones are going to be very important as we move into the late round.
And you know what? Even though Direwolves have cleared out Joe and taken control underneath the bomb site, they haven't found any kills with those nades. So they've got to funnel through these positions like the top of White Stairs, which just ain't going to work out for Pika, who is easy for Hoven to clean up. Now we turn our attention to Master Balk, and I feel like there's a frost mat just waiting to deal some damage.
Told you, now hanging out inside of the master bedroom, but in fact the push is coming in from top white, Dev. It's all about to go down.
Yeah, and there's still 4 players up for GG too. Ape back on site to support. Direwolves got a lot of work to do. They got to find these entries, but there's Ape once again supporting his team. He's found a double here. That's his 3rd kill on for the round. Souffle can't do very much from the big window. And a very nice hold there from GG, despite having the first victim on their side.
Gaming Gladiators, they hold on tight, even though Joe, he was so isolated. Eventually, that late round came back to bite the Direwolves. They didn't get a whole lot of real estate in their hands through that mid-round. Really, the only control they had was inside of security. And as a result of ignoring that master side hold, not going for attic, they had to funnel up through white, and eventually there were enough Gaming Gladiators anchors to hold on to that position and close out the late round.
It does start GG on the right foot here. They have the advantage on their side according to the stats, according to the predictions of all of us talent. But Direwolves, a lot of people are looking at them with their own roster change, with Reaps trying to redeem themselves after a lackluster stage 2. They need to hit their stride here. With GG starting on the defense, it does give them somewhat of a comfort side. Now at this level, the attack does creep into being more powerful than it is at, I think, a lower comp level where people are just typically more comfortable on defense. But Direwolves, they need to make sure that they're hot on the tails of GG.
Something that I've just noticed is, sorry Sky, can we borrow you for electrical box real quickly? I think they've reinforced this wall the wrong way around if they want to put a mirror on it. Okay, they have. So they cannot put a mirror on side of Evox wall. And instead, if they want to use their mirrors, it's got to go on the front side take of the map. Don't know how much I rate this. Maybe small miscalculation from the side of GG. But there's already one inside of Freezer.
Yeah.
There's another one in his pockets, I believe. But that can really only go in one spot. Now it's inside a closet. So not too sure about that one from the Gaming Gladiators, but it seems like the Direwolves are looking for a front take anyway. Most of the players situated outside of Small Tower, Hoven the first point of contest, and already a drone has gone down.
You never know in the late round on Oregon, the meta these days, teams will rotate and change their push last minute. But the Direwolves at the moment, it's just a matter of the roam clear, and they have pushed Hoven back to site, who didn't want to really extend himself too much. It's just 2 drones that have gone down, so I'd say pretty decent timing here for Direwolves, but there's a lot of util to execute onto on site. And that ended up being the problem in the previous round. Also, Arpez managed to rotate up to T2 unscathed, take down another drone. Is he going to be able to take down one more drone here? No, he's looking for a pre-fire, doesn't want to overextend, and he does fall back. A lot of work still to be done for Direwolves. This does seem a little bit slow.
Souffle is now just started to make his way into meeting, though with that Maverick Torch can start to get open the E-Box hatch now. Thankfully, there is no mirror there, because otherwise it would be exposed at this point in the rounds. The Gaming Gladiators just starting to reel off the solo wall as well, anticipating that there might be a possible backtake with this hatch being open now. They don't want to expose any defenders sitting inside of that B bomb site. But the Direwolves, they don't look like they've got a game plan just yet, trying to open up all their options, all the hatches, get what is remaining of their drones, which is frankly not too many left into the bomb site to decide what they want to do next.
Oh no. We got a Sapper spot player, guys. They got Tolji doing his best Sapper impersonation. Interesting use of the Roteros from Flores. And believe it or not, GG continuing to pull back. Their strategy clearly not looking to overextend. That means that the Capital's fire is essentially ineffectual, but now Direwolves do have the information that they were looking for.
Oh, but it seems like these mirror windows are coming to work in the favor of the Gaming Gladiators. After all, the Direwolves are not looking for that backtake. We can see the intel starting to go through on this laundry side as well, and looks like all the Direwolves players are ready for this execute to start happening all in the south side of the map.
Good luck trying to execute when there's 2 mirrors up. Told you out of smokes though. Still 1 C4 on the board for the defense. The smokes from the Capital come out, but Hoven is in an aggressive position. He gets taken down. A good entry now from the newest Direwolves player, but it's not over yet for GG. Oh my god. Just look at Joe go. He's cleaned them all up. And that is a quick end to the round for Direwolves.
And geez, Gaming Gladiators are just so good at this late round, aren't they? They're incredible at it. They're so patient. They're disciplined here in this early round. They don't want to give anything away. Last time we saw them play a roam, it was very passive. It was really just Joe. He was supported by some vertical, but no one got overzealous and tried to go through refrag or anything like that. Even on this basement bomb site, they didn't do a super extended roam. They were happy with the intel that they took away. They know that the Direwolves are taking quite a lot of time to get up and running, and as a result, these late rounds have been very easy for the Gaming Gladiators to close out.
Direwolves just can't quite find their feet here. How many rounds realistically can they afford to lose on the attacking side? Because even though some teams might prefer defense, and the meta still is technically overall defense favored, it's a hell of a lot more attacker favored than it used to be. And occasionally we just get maps that are ridiculously attacker favored, like the game earlier today with the 2 Thai teams. Direwolves, though, they're actually, look at all these operator switch arounds. Is that a Glaz I see, Mandy?
I would like to see the Glaz. That would be something exciting,
Please.
especially in tandem with the Capital. Ooh, Direwolves, what have you got to show for us?
Yeah, you got Ossa EMPs as well. I thought maybe it would be the smokes on the Ossa. I'm loving this. I'm loving the new EMP gadget. Been using it a ton in ranked. Ossa's got it. Nook's got it. A lot of really good ops with it, and a lot of good ways you can fit it into your composition. I love this Glaz Ossa combo.
And look at what the Direwolves are trying to do with this setup as well. They've gone all the correct operators to just do a minimalist big tower take. And that is all that they're going to go for, because that's all that their operator's utility has for that control. You've got the Ossa shields to hold onto attic control and to hold onto this big tower control. But actually they might be playing into the hands of the Gaming Gladiators here, because Hoven has made those back tower stairs one of his power positions, and they've opened up half of attic as well to contest that early too. So Direwolves, they've got to be careful around here.
Oh, wow. Oh my god, Areeps! I can't believe he takes that gamble. That was a really good play, and there you go. That was nullified. That aggressive position, all of the gas from Hoven out for the rest of the round. I'm loving this from Direwolves. If they can pull off this cheeky attack with the Glaz, with the Capital, with the Ossa, I would be so amused.
And look at what they've done with that first Ossa shield up there in T2. They're actually using the holes made inside of Attic against the defenders now. This rotate right here that the defense had originally made is now being used against them. And as a result, that retake's going to be much harder. Thankfully, one Ossa shield does go down to that C4 from Tolji, so a little bit of a thorn in the side of the attack for the Direwolves.
What is the play then? Fortunately, there's no necessity for hard breach attacking this site. And in fact, well, ED is just going to use the secondary hard breach gadget anyway, so you got a bit of redundancy there. Reaps has found a second one now. Joe just on site, and that position on the hatch is so powerful. I'm loving this. He's also got a drone to support him from pit, which Souffle can sit on too. When Rix goes for that flank, it will be called.
And looks like the execute.
Fire to come through too.
I was going to say that exactly. The Capital Fire looks like it's about to be deployed and the execute to come through for any second for the Direwolves. But look at this from Tolji.
Oh, if he lands this, could be big, but he's now been smoked off. That is so smart. Just look at it. It's on Arpe now to make the play, but Pika shuts him down straight between the eyes and the glass double. That is not something you see every day, but I, for one, love to see it.
That is so cool from the Direwolves, that attack that they were just able to pull off. That is exciting. I love how they're able to do that. They went, all right, it is their tertiary site. This is meeting. Let's do something special. Let's just bring the small amount of tools that are unique that we have a push we're going to do. And the Game Gladiators are going to have no idea what we're about to do. How on earth are you going to be able to tell that they're going to bring a Glaz, an Ossa, and a Capital to do a smoke-based push? The smokes are even going to be used on the flank watch. And to get the bomb down like that is just such a stroke of genius from the Direwolves. It's probably only going to work once, to be fair. After this, the Game Gladiators are probably going to be like, okay, we've seen that wild card before, but for now, I really love what they were able to pull off there to take away a round win off the Game Gladiators.
And even if it only does work once, it's done its magic, right? On the back of getting a win and making sure that GG don't win their tertiary site, Direwolves now know exactly where GG are going for the next bomb site, right? Laundry is still locked, so it's going to be Dorms. And they take their tactical pause. So Direwolves are playing this really well, in my opinion. Not only have they managed to get the tertiary site, but now they're setting themselves up for success going back into the primary site for GG.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
So Direwolves have just taken their tactical timeout off the back there, and I can only imagine that off the back of that they have to be talking a little bit more about these late rounds, because really that is what has been the downfall of this team in the past 2 round losses that they've gotten over the Game Gladiators. In this round, we're going back up to that top floor side just like you mentioned. They actually bring along the Azami on the side of Hoven, changing up the philosophy of this setup. Last time we saw something pretty heavy go down in Trophy. This time they fully reinforced off Closet. So not as aggressive as it was before, reading into the fact that really Direwolves don't like to push this master side. They put a lot more pressure on the small tower side of the map, and that's where they're going to face their utility instead. We can see a lot of vertical holes being made to aid that roam that Joe is doing.
But after all that, Direwolves have completely changed their strategy. They're not going for this map clear down kitchen like you saw previously. All 5 operators have been repicked here. And we've got the Glaz back, we've got the Capital back, we've got a ton of stun grenades, 9 stun grenades, including the Amaro, the Dokkaebi, and the Lion, all of which are going to be so explosive when it comes to that execute. I love this new style from Direwolves. It's not typical of them, but it could just be so saucy.
And it looks like it's about to be explosive. Any second now, we see that Gon 6 ring out. It could all be over for the Game Gladiators. There are no site plays, and the execute is about to come through.
No way, I can't believe it. Joe needs to find a pick here on the vert, but this is interesting. Souffle is going to go in through the games window with Pika repelling on the back of it. He goes straight through the Azami. Tolji goes down. What are we looking at? This is not something that I have seen ever before. Direwolves throwing out the strat book and throwing everything they've got at GG. Direwolves now find themselves in a 5 versus 1. The site has been stolen and Ape must retake.
What a rough 1 versus 5 this is as well. Phone call, he's got to answer that one. Now they know exactly where he is. Now going back down, the Armory says it's well and a done deal for the Game Gladiators. It is over. Direwolves, what a round that was from them.
We can just break that down, right? Because APAC, I think it's clear, is just going to bait the rest of this round. He's looking to take a little bit of time to talk and adapt with his team. So let's break that down, Mandy. What a strat from Direwolves all around that big window and games window.
I love what the Direwolves have brought into this game. They've realized the late game is not our strong suit. Every time we get there, we fumble. So why don't we just make the late game not happen and put everything in the early to mid game? And so that's exactly what they've done. They've completely changed the pace in the last 2 attacks that they've done. They've gone for minimal takes. They haven't loitered around the map, wasted loads of time clearing the roamers, because they realize Gaming Gladiators do not like sitting on the site for all too long. They like going for those roams. They like contesting early, so let's just hit the site, change the pace, and force them back. And both times that they've done this, it has worked. Now, I have to anticipate that for the Gaming Gladiators, because they can go back to that basement bomb site, will be more aware of this fast-paced rush that the Direwolves are trying to go for, and will bring some tools to try and deal with it. We can see the Goyo immediately being brought out alongside the Mirror to try and hold on to those anchor positions for just a little bit longer, because really the control is being given away so quickly.
I was wondering whether we would see a Warden pick just at some point, because the thing with Warden is he's really good just as a pure operator, even when there is no Glaz and like when there are none of these operators that you would typically expect the Warden to hard counter by looking through smokes and flashes. Warden still has a shield and a really good gun. So you can slot him into a lot of lineups these days. And yet Gladiators still aren't picking him. I feel like if you just pick the Warden, maybe it will be enough to get Direwolves to stop doing these pushes that you don't want to play against. That said, it looks like Direwolves themselves have decided, okay, twice was enough for the Glaz Capitao stuff. We need to change our attack. And in fact, the repick is onto the Twitch from Jackie, which is such a nice way to try and sneak in and clear those mirror windows that Rix has brought.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
I'm curious as to how quickly the Direwolves are able to take this map control. Now, last time we saw them go for like a total map control type clear. They really opened up all the hatches, tried to get as many options open as possible. But each time that they've tried to do that, it's been slow, and it's cost them the rounds coming late into the rounds. We can see ED, he's immediately enabling this back push on the Monty, while the rest of his team forces their way into meeting. I feel like this is the right way to go for the Direwolves. If they go for this small tower take like they've been doing over and over again, they're going to waste all their time in the mid round. But right now, they're just consolidating all of their players on one side of the map to do one simple take, and that's to go around the back.
That's it. If you play into those really long, not very time-efficient takes, it's exactly what GG wants, right? They're going to waste your time. You see it in the way that they always contest entries and then fall back with their full numbers up to then play off of the utility on site. Direwolves instead want to be the hammer onto Gladiator's anvil, but there's a lot of utility to clear out, and that's why this has been fairly slow here. I'm liking this, though. The Maverick is going to be opening up this electrical hatch.
I'm still liking what the Direwolves are going for here. They haven't gone for anything more than this. This is the only hatch that is mission critical to this back take if they want to commit to it. They do not need to get any more hatches open if this is what they decide to go for. Now it's about taking their time to clear this utility one by one. That Goyo canister that was on that barricade has been taken out. Now it's been opened. They have these two Banshees to deal with, Arpe's power position, and really this line of sight that Joe has open is still a 50-50 fight coming down for this attacker as well. So if they consolidate these gunfights, they could close out this late round.
A lot of pressure now on Arpe and these GG players. When will this push come from Direwolves? ED is putting so much pressure on that position, and he enables Rix to go in for the kill. First player down for GG, and Tolji knows that he has to make up for it.
ED, look how much control he's just gotten. He's just pinged out Joe in the corner of the bomb site now with Nate to follow through inside of the hallway, but it doesn't connect. But Direwolves, they have the man advantage, but do they have the time to make it work?
They got the secondary hard breach, which has opened up another avenue onto site. But that said, these Vulcan canisters from the Goyo are stalling out Direwolves. They are going to have to go massive. There's Tolji for one. The trade can't quite be there. Bit too much of a pre-fire for the ARX as C4 goes boom straight in the sight, and Tolji's doing it all by himself. He's taken blue control. He's gone for the flank, and he's lost his life. ED can't get it done in the 1-on-2. GG. An explosive round, but one they can steal away.
And thank goodness for that. Ultimately, it came down to that elbow push not working out in the hands of the Direwolves. For that late round push to work, the Direwolves had to win their 2 lanes of attack, and that was going through elbow, getting that control and playing the cross and freezer, and the other one inside of pillar and getting control of the hallway. Now, since that elbow push wasn't won out, it allowed Tolji to make the rotation and wrap around the back of the Direwolves attack. That flank came out, and eventually it all fell apart from there, and so the Direwolves once again falling to that late round push, but I still rated the approach that they went for. I liked that they simply consolidated their players. They didn't go for a take that was too complicated. They didn't waste as much of the mid round, and it was very clear what they were going for, and I feel like that's the philosophy that they need to take once again if they want to close it out 3-3.
It felt like the very start of the game was quite GG favoured. It felt like the previous 2 rounds before that last one were really Direwolves favoured, and now we're getting into close territory. GG only barely won that round. And now Direwolves have one last chance to go even at the end of their attacking half. And to be honest, I think they need to. They've already taken their tactical timeout. When they switch onto that defense, if the momentum is on Gladiators' favor, which it will be if they win this round and end up 4-2, I would back in Gladiators to win 3 attacks and therefore close out this game. Direwolves walking away with 0 points. So that just puts so much pressure on this round. GG still have that tack timeout in the back pocket if they lose it, but Direwolves can't say the same.
GAIMIN Gladiators looking to take us to this top floor bomb site instead. Looking for this total map control so far. GG, they're not willing to give away any map control to the Direwolves. They need to get a bit of an inkling to see what the Direwolves are going for. Now, they've changed their approach once again, Dev. Direwolves, they've actually changed and they've spread out their plays throughout the map. The utility isn't really being consolidated anymore. They're just looking for an in onto the map, probing, trying to punish the mistakes of any roamers like APAC, trying to take an aggressive fight here in the big tower.
APAC is an aggressive roamer, but he rarely makes mistakes. He loves to go for those flanks. He's a slippery player, one that's difficult to take down. And I don't think he's been seen on that rotation. There was a drone in split, but I don't believe it would have hurt him as he dropped that meeting hatch. That said, sooner or later, Jackie Wu may smell some footsteps and be able to track down that cheeky roamer.
I can't believe that when you said slippery roamer, the first thing that APAC did was drop through the hatch. That was some perfect comedic timing from you. Oh, but look at this step. They're pinching out this bottom floor position. APAC, he's just been caught in the crossfire. Souffle finds the read onto him off the back of that intel from Jackie Wu. And like you said, that Jackal comes in so strong.
That was so good. So well played from Direwolves. It looks like they may well continue this momentum. 5v3 now. And GG feeling that pressure. Hubba knows he needs to go for a play. But Reaps deals more damage than he takes. Until that impact comes out, Reaps, I guess, has finished the job with a grenade. So there you have it, 2 on 5. Tolji and Joe. Now with Tolji caught out by the Rotero. Bit of a miscom there. Reaps doesn't realize that the player dropped the hatch, even though the Flores saw it. Now maybe there is a way for GG to get back in it.
Defender is exposed.
Oh, but Bricks, though, he claws one back for the GAIMIN Gladiators.
Now, Direwolves knew that Tolji was off site, so they rushed in. Bricks, though, his plant is going to go down. What's he going to do for it? He knows that plant must be behind the big window. Tolji's found one on the flank. A 2v2 post plant here. And if Tolji can deal some damage from top white, this is a real possibility here. I think Rix has got the sound call. He's going to spot the player and take him down with a shotgun. It's now a 1v2 post plant. Souffle's got to get it done. He reveals his position and sprays them both down. We are even at the end of the half. Direwolves will not go down easy.
Good grief. That was a very strange round from start to finish there. But first, I had criticized the way that Direwolves had approached the round. I thought that they were spread too thin. I thought that that wasn't the Direwolves formula they needed. But as soon as we saw that pinch roam clear come together, that was the light bulb moment for me, Ryan. The Direwolves, they had a plan. And that plan was still in that early game utility. The back of that Jackal scan, knowing that Ape and the likes of Joe and his teammates would be looking for that ground floor roam to pinch that out and come through together off the back of that intel was just so well read on the side of the Direwolves. They know that GAIMIN Gladiators like to do that in the previous rounds. They've read into that behavior and as a result are able to close out that early round. And we know that once that early round comes through, the trades have been impeccable for both of these teams and it often translates to a round win. It's exactly what we saw there.
My question, Mandy, is at the flip of the half, has Direwolves got enough momentum to ride this one out? We already went in with expectations that GG was simply the better team on Oregon. GG have the better form overall. Both these teams have only played one match so far in Stage 3, but Stage 2 was a very different story for these teams. It was the rise of Gladiators all the way to going to a major, and the fall of Direwolves from being the undisputed best team in APAC South to not even making it to their second major. Now both these teams are looking like a shoe-in for probably second spot if you give Elevate the benefit of the doubt after today's performance and think they're going to make it to the major in one of the two spots for APAC South. It's probably one of these two teams, or maybe even Fury, that takes that third spot. So who's it going to be?
I just want to dive into that last half just a little bit longer to put some context into this one. Now, the last 3 rounds that the Direwolves have won were essentially, I don't want to say gimmick rounds completely, but they were, right? Hang on a second. Just pause in the action. Souffle is still holding on to this tower control.
Oh my God.
Very aggressive. A grenade is about to land at your feet, Souffle. You need to run. And oh my goodness. Hoven, he can take him down. Souffle.
Like, are you trying to talk about the last half?
I know.
These guys just won't let you get a word in. What is that? Souffle. A dance with death, and unfortunately, the waltz does not go quite to his tempo.
And it's not even over yet, Dev. Jackie Wu is still inside a closet. The wall is open. He's got a way back in. The pressure is relentless so far in this early game. The Direwolves' defense is spread far and wide across of Oregon. And the GAIMIN Gladiators, so far, have dealt with it pretty well.
Yes, Direwolves spread pretty thin here. If GG can put this pressure on, get someone on that big window, surely there's a shot in here for an execute. There's an aggressive hold from Direwolves, but being a player down makes it so much more difficult to play these aggressive holds.
And control has slowly been made for the GAIMIN Gladiators as they make their way. Now, if I can hear right, a mirror window has just been opened. I have no idea how they opened that, perhaps off the back of one of the SAM cams, but it's actually Reaps to claw one back for the Direwolves. That's the kit going down inside of the master bedroom.
It's a big pick, and that's why we're seeing Direwolves do this aggressive hold, so they can keep that pressure on these players pushing master. That said, ED's got 2 angles to watch. Reaps has done some damage with his C4. Man's cracked double digits as well. The first one in the server to do so. Gladiators on the back foot. 3v5. Rick's already low on HP. They got to drop into pit. They do so. ED doesn't overpeak it. Gladiators in decent position now. But thing is, still a player down.
Oh, look at that. A pre-play C4 from ED, anticipating that the push from Attic is going to come through. Only 38 seconds, Devon. Really, Direwolves, the ones at the advantage.
GG just need to find a couple of these picks, though, to change things. Pika goes a good entry on the Glaz, but Harvin can't land his shots. Reaps is continuing his tear, and Jackie Wu and Pika can finish the job here. Direwolves continuing this momentum into the second half.
They're just doing so well at having the read on the pace that the GAIMIN Gladiators are bringing into this game. What I was going to say about the second half...
Before you were rudely interrupted.
I know, right? Souffle, how could he do that to me? I was going to comment that I suppose the last 3 rounds that they were able to win out, 2 of them was off the back of the rushes that we saw them do. It's when they changed the pace and they pressed the attack onto the GAIMIN Gladiators. Those were the rounds that they picked up, right? The third round, they were able to pick up the same thing. They were able to shut down the early round nice and early off the back of the Jackal. It feels like when the Direwolves bring the pressure onto the GAIMIN Gladiators early, they choose the gunfights that they're going to take, isolate them, and then go for it. That's where they've been finding their success. And we saw that just then in that early round as well. They took the fights early, one side on Big Tower, even another in Master Bedroom. And the GAIMIN Gladiators were just simply spread too thin to play the trades and consolidate their players to be in a crossfire or anything like that. And I think that this formula is really going to work for the Direwolves if they want to close out the series.
Well, they're keeping GG guessing, aren't they? But GG now have had a chance to talk it out. They've taken their tactical pause. And that leaves us essentially even now. No more tack timeouts remaining for either team. GG have to make as good use of theirs as Direwolves did with their own one, which was the round where they went for that really nice rush with the Glaz, the Capitao, and the Amaru onto Dorms. That was what Direwolves cooked up in their timeout. What can GG say?
The basement is where we'll go, like you said. And it looks like the Direwolves are looking for a little bit of a roam. We've got Pika starting his way on the top floor. I suppose the difference between these two philosophies going to this basement is they're not bringing along the mirror, and instead they're bringing along things like the Azami, things like Warden with the shield that can be moved, 2 shields in fact. It makes this defense a little more mobile. It means that they can pick up and move the shields where they want to. Not only that, but they have the keeper barriers for later on to put down where each and every push might come from, and it just feels a little bit more flexible than what the Gaming Gladiators brought when they played their defense.
So we're also seeing some crazy aggression. Like, who plays Classroom on the basement defense? This is some old school stuff here. ED really hoping to play into mistakes from GG, because if they were to die to ED here, it would be a mistake from GG. A roamer in Classroom should be a free kill. If he's not droned, if he's not cut off, then that's a blunder that GG are really going to feel.
And so dangerous as well from Pika. He's just gone from the top white stairs all the way into pit, all the way through attic, and hasn't been droned out. Now, if GG, they had that push coming from big window or even from small tower, he could be pinched out. But really, Direwolves are playing such a dangerous game on the roam here, and it might pay off for ED.
This is such a good read from Direwolves. They've got the number of GG. They know that complacency has started to slip in to these clears. They're so tunnel vision, clearing out this roamer on the top floor, that Azami, who's now, by the way, basically safe. Pika, I believe, is now on the rear stairs, essentially fallen all the way back. Yeah, he's just playing on the rear stairs in a relatively safe position. Meanwhile, ED is still in Classroom. So Gladiators, in the late round, if they rotate to lobby, they're going to probably just walk straight into his hands.
Game Gladiators are starting to make their way through that mid-round, but they have absolutely no idea what is about to come and bite them in the back in about maybe half a minute's time when no one's paying attention. But hang on a moment, lobby control, ED, he takes the fight onto APAC, and he's not in his Z, he's in good for a second, taking down Hoven and gets away with his life.
Please explain how he finds that second kill. I'll give you one, but the double, and to add insult to injury, Jackie Wu has just played the freezer stairs like a madman with the M870 shotgun. Fortunately, he's traded, but at this rate, GG aren't going to get the execute that they wanted. You can have Thatcher, you can have Hibana, but you're in a 2v4 going onto the basement bomb site. There are shields, there's smoke grenades, there's Aruni gates. What are you going to do?
Sit here and wait and see what happens. Because really, there is not a lot that Game Gladiators can do anymore going into this Direwolves defense. None of the players are giving them anything. They're playing so disciplined now on the site. They've gone, we've just made them look very silly in the server, and now we're going to observe them from a top-down view for another 30 seconds, still looking silly running around the map because there is nothing that the Game Gladiators can do in this situation anymore. Flashbangs can go out, but there is a Warden to follow it up. Drops comes through, Reaps is good for the cross, and Souffle for the second. Direwolves close out yet another round.
It's just a formality, isn't it, to lock out that round. What a play from ED and also from the Jaeger player of Jackie Wu on the freezer stairs, making GG sweat hard. Would you believe that this was ED's first 2 kills in the entire game?
No way!
First 2 kills in the entire game,
No
and
way.
It's called the Rat Special. He's been watching too much Ratatouille and impersonating Little Remy, or whatever the little rat's name is in Ratatouille. I don't know. Is that it?
I don't know it either.
Someone in chat is going to know what the rat's name is in Ratatouille, and they will correct us. And if I am wrong, which I probably am, I'll look almost as silly as GG after losing that round.
They really do look quite silly at the moment, don't they? Direwolves, not only have they been able to do this on their attack off, on the attack they brought out some really special stuff. They brought out some strategies that I would say is more of a one-off kind of strategies, a pocket strategy, if you will. Same thing on the defense. They're bringing out things that the Gaming Gladiators are going to look back on and go, wow, we were really silly for not catching on to that. And as a result, these kinds of things work so well in this best-of-1 format, and Direwolves are totally playing into it.
People did call them the BO1 Kings back in Stage 1. They didn't drop a single point in any of their 7 best-of-1s. And, well, they already have dropped a point. I believe it was the Fury game where they went to overtime, eventually won it on Skyscraper in their first Playday of this stage. So Direwolves need every point they can get. For GG, they're actually sitting above at the moment. They already have the 1 point. Oh, interesting. Where is that?
Oh, no.
Jammer? How did the first EMP not get it? Must have just been shy of the mark, but Regardless, there's some kind of double jump out from Direwolves around the big tower. Yeah, a run out and a jump out. That's an interesting strategy. Well, sometimes you swing and sometimes you miss.
Most of the times that they swing, they hit pretty hard though, Dev. That was the one time that we saw a Direwolves special that hasn't
benefit
worked.
of the doubt.
Look. That's the one time that we've seen a Direwolves special not hit yet in this game. Game Gladiators finally up in the man advantage, and they could close it out to a 5-4, which is a much more manageable scoreline if they can bring it to that. ED, he's starting to look for that hero play, peeking where he can, knowing now that they're in the man disadvantage, and he needs to claw one back.
Well, Gladiators should win this round, right? 5v3. But if they don't, that is so much worse. I gotta say, like, if Gladiators lose this 5v3, that's probably game over. Not only will Direwolves be on match point, but Direwolves will have the momentum of winning that 3v5 after everything else that's gone on in this game. And GG can't afford to let this opportunity go to waste.
Well, so they've encountered their first problem trying to open up the back of the site, and that there is a mute jammer in the back. Maybe that has just been cleared. It doesn't sound like it. Maybe it has been. Sky, can we have a look at the meeting wall real quick to see how silly I look right now? It has indeed been open. Hoven, he's just come around the corner and opened up that mute jammer for him. And now they have to worry about their flank. Not only that, but if they leave the execute too late, there will be a yokai drone there to meet them. And Reaps, of course, off the back of that big tower push is able to take down Rix and the diffuser with him.
But fortunately for Direwolves, they made this 3v5 a 3v3. I was going to look on the bright side for a second for GG, but there's not a lot of brightness left in the game for them. Reaps coming back up the stairs, and whiffs his shot. That is devastating. Hoven punishes him. His third kill on for the round. Souffle gets the down that's needed. With ED rotating back to site, this could spell death for GG. It's about to happen, Mandy. I curse them. And Direwolves take advantage on the 3v5 now to match point.
Can't believe you've done this. I really can't.
Cannot believe you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this. That is ridiculous what they've just been able to do off the back of Reaps, realizing, or not just off the back of Reaps, but really all the Direwolves players got aggressive there where they needed to. The GAIMIN Gladiators, even though they had control of meeting, they made this crucial mistake of rotating all of their players to kitchen for the execute, right at the last second there, even though they had full control of meeting. Now, I can only imagine they went, okay, let's not go meeting. Maybe the yokai drones are here. Maybe they're playing an attic, and we don't know. We don't have that control. They could be flanking up the back stairs, so let's just go somewhere else. But in this top-down view that we have, that was such an incorrect mistake to make because ED was just rotating through Zulu and Souffle happened to be there inside of Dining, and as a result they played directly into the hands of the last two Direwolves players and give away that rounds that really should have been theirs.
Direwolves are just laughing right now. They're not reinventing the wheel yet. On attack they brought some interesting strats. On defense, they're just vibing. It's not like these guys are bringing crazy, unreal, unknown strategies we've never seen before. They're just playing their game. They're unfazed. Two people jump out and run out aggressively and die in the first 20 seconds of the round. Oh, well, we'll just have Reaps play aggressive in the late round. We'll just have Oryx dash around and do some silly things. And that is the scariest part. GG have been slapped about, forced back into their shells. If they play slow, they won't have time to execute. If they play too fast, they're going to be caught off guard by some silly business. So, really, this is Direwolves' best shot at putting their best foot forward for the major.
This is a rough one for GG. Look, they're starting to play a lot more passive going into this early round as well. We can see lots more drones coming out, being way, way more diligent with this intel. I think we just saw 3 or 4 players stay outside of the building. Hoven was the only one brave enough to step in, and they're not even going to try an entry anywhere close to the bomb site. They're saying, let's go for total map control. Let's clear out any of the rats because we don't want Edie getting another 2 kills. He's already got 2 too many. And as a result, they're being much, much more cautious and careful through this early round. Hopefully it pays off for them if time doesn't come to bite them back.
But Souffle has taken down APAC, who's had an uncharacteristically quiet game. Souffle's just popped double digits with a 2.0 KD as well. Barely surviving that too. Just look at the distinction. When Direwolves had to deal with these roamers downstairs, they would pressure from multiple angles and catch the GG players on the rotation. It's the opposite here, right? It's just solo entry from up and no support. Not even anyone here in position to seemingly catch off Soufflé if he tries to retreat back.
And look, they've totally had to pivot their control as well. They've realized, right, Soufflé, he's elusive. Let him be. Let's just leave Hoven on the flank watch and start working on this mass control instead. Seems like Hoven has got a pretty good read of what Soufflé is about to do. Just about to round the corner of that laundry stairs. Come on, Soufflé, poke your head out, and he does. Hoven to collect that kill and bring back the man count for the Gaming Gladiators. But really, there's still so much work to be done.
Fortunately for Reaps, that second impact grenade does destroy the breaching hard breach gadget. Ooh, thankfully, GG, though, are getting that numbers back on their favor because they're not going to be able to breach that main wall, so they're going to have to file through these choke points.
And with not a lot of time as well, that 1.5x of the DMR and Pika, it's going to be real powerful for the Direwolves.
I mean, they're just sitting and waiting. 3v4, but they know that that breach is not going to get open. It is all out of smokes, and this is where it all comes to a head. GG find the good opener, but ED's got that diffuser caught on the ground, traded back, and Gladiators, they're not going to be counted out as of yet. They get one more round and keep this dream of OT alive.
And thank goodness for that. That late round was pretty explosive on their side. To be honest, I don't even know how they were able to claw that one back so quickly. It all really happened in the last few seconds.
You're right there, man. It sounds like you're struggling for a sec.
I am very
so
ill.
Unlucky when you're sick in a
very
casting
ill.
week.
Those at home, yes, I've been very sick for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and so casting has suddenly become much more difficult, especially when there are games as intense and fast as these ones, because there's so much to talk about, and it's so frustrating.
I mean, even I'm having trouble catching my breath with the way that Direwolves have been playing in this game. But GG, they took 3 deep breaths, they cooled themselves, they calmed their nerves, and they did manage to finally get themselves an attacking round. Are they going to be able to do it twice more to push OT, though? Oh, I'm not super convinced.
It's looking pretty rough for them. The Direwolves, they look like they have their number. I won't say on strategy, but it feels like timing and positioning is the way that they've been able to go with this one, right? They're not reinventing the wheel, like you said. The strategies that they're bringing out, especially on these defense, are nothing unorthodox. They're nothing too out of the ordinary. It's just the way that they've been conducting themselves in the server. The places that they've been playing in are very unorthodox. They are very oddly timed, and the pacing has been very hard for the Game Gladiators to catch up with. Now, they have brought along the Jackal, which hopefully will expedite this roam clear a little bit, because the Direwolves players have been so elusive thus far.
They've also got the Nomad, which our observer Sky just pointed out. There's an air jab just above that laundry stairs door. He's going to point out again. Look at that. It's also quite well hidden as well behind the flower pot. But if any Direwolves player quickly sprints up the stairs and tries to go into lobby, they will get taken out or slammed onto the ground by that air jab. So I think this is a nice adaptation from GG. They're really trying to suppress this aggression, like you said, with the Jackal, also with the Nomad.
And the Direwolves have decided that they wasted enough time. It's time to go back onto the site. Just play the utility that we've got, because there is, in fact, a lot still left on the site. The Game Gladiators, they've only just started to make their way through that top floor, through that ground floor, opening up the hatches. But of course, if they don't decide on their late game plan quick enough, time could be the demise. And in fact, it was last time. By the time they got to layout round, well, they were just no players left because they had lost out on the roam clear in the mid round. So if they don't get going too long, Soufflé, he's going to be in a cheeky position with that Warden, or your flashbangs, or your explosive execute. It's going to be for nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing. If GG rely on those flashes or the smokes from Hoven on the Jackal, well, Soufflé could be the killing blow, the hidden knife, the hidden blade. Wait, no, that's the wrong game. Never mind.
Whoops.
Heard it was a big anniversary recently. It's fine, it's a Ubisoft title. They won't mind me shilling it.
Bomb located by attackers.
I love this front push though. That EMP. Oh, 2 EMPs go through to clear out any ADSs. Is there going to be a nade to follow? So I like this. Good nade, but the ADS is actually placed further back, and oh, the shield is placed further back. Wow, they managed to get a nade deep enough to clear it though. I'm genuinely surprised that that worked.
But there is a second shield to deal with. That is the one inside of the hallway, and that's going to be a bit troublesome to face for those players coming down the laundry stairs. Now there's only 40 seconds left, so really the Gaming Gladiators do not have a lot of utility or time on their hands to make it work, but Rix can open up the round.
No, it's not a freebie though, as Hoven's been down, so's APAC as well. All these Direwolves players have hit the floor. So, or rather, the Gladiators players have hit the floor, and the Direwolves guys are not letting up. Here's a flashbang. Jackie Wu blinded, but will the Warden be able to protect him? It's a wall bang, and Reaps does win it out. It looks like Direwolves might have the Gladiators' numbers here. But the HP, it's falling on both sides. Joe on for the entry. He is done. And revenge is a dish best served cold. The Direwolves howl out, and the Gladiators go down.
And the Direwolves look so calm, collected off that one, aside from Edu, who's having the time of his life there. Love his new hair, by the way. The Direwolves able to close out that one in true Direwolves fashion. That is the Direwolves BO1 form that we saw back in Stage 1, and we're seeing it here again in Stage 3. They brought out some stuff today that the Gaming Gladiators have probably never seen in their lives and are able to take the series.
That's a full 3 points for Direwolves, a huge win, and putting them up on 5 points in just third place behind Elevate. That is a huge one for them, but a pretty gutting blow there for Gladiators, who have essentially lost the first of probably only 2 losses that they can afford throughout the entire